Hello, today I'm sharing my thoughts on some exciting new makeup launches. I've already been testing out most of these, but I thought let's apply them to my face and chat about the ins and outs, the good, the bad, and see if any of these may or may not work for you. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new, and let's get into it. I've been asked about RMS Revitalize Hydra Concealer quite a bit. I picked it up in shade WN09, which is warm, neutral for light skin. Now they claim this gives medium coverage with a satin skin-like finish. It is skincare infused, so it's designed to hydrate, firm, and smooth your under eyes. I have tried this out several times now. I really do like this component. I also like the fine tapered brush applicator. Now because I have dark circles, under eye hollows, and dry under eyes with fine lines and texture. I mean, I'm 50. I'm going to have under eye issues like that. I typically prefer a medium full to full coverage, very hydrating concealer. I do agree that this has medium coverage, so I typically wear a corrector underneath. So I'm going to show you one side with and one side without corrector. I typically place dots here, and because it's on the thinner side, it's not a thick concealer, I like to let it sit and thicken up a little bit before I start to blend it out. I really like the small size and softness of this RMS concealer brush, just to show you in comparison to the A506 brush from BK Beauty. It's a lot smaller and still has a nice slant to it. So if you're looking for something a little bit smaller, this is really, really nice. It blends out very easily and quickly with a brush or your finger, and it's supposed to give you the benefits of an eye cream and help revitalize your delicate eye area and improve your skin's texture. And I agree with the claims that it feels weightless and it doesn't cake or settle as the day goes on. It does brighten nicely and conceal without a corrector, but I still see a little bit of my purple discoloration peeking through. I'm going to layer another tiny dot at my darkest point and blend it into that area. Now I get straight medium coverage if I just blend it out right away, but letting it set and thicken a little bit does increase the coverage to somewhere in between medium and medium full. I mean, this looks really nice for an everyday concealer. It's nice and flattering on my dry under eyes, and I mean, there's quite a difference from this under eye to this one. Now I'm applying my Bobbi Brown stick corrector in Bisque, and I'm applying the concealer the exact same way. I'm still letting it thicken, and I'll use my fingers to blend it out under this eye just to show you it blends out quickly and easily with a finger too. And because my dark circle is darker and bigger under this eye, I am still layering it with just another tiny amount of product. You won't have to do that if you don't have uneven circles like I do. It also claims to be crease free, but if you're prone to creasing like I am, almost every concealer is going to crease under your eyes. However, this takes a long time to crease right under my lash line, which is a good thing. So if you're not prone to creasing, this may be pretty self-setting for you. So I'm going to set my under eyes with the new Fenty Beauty Set It Down Ultra Finely Milled Setting Powder in Strawberry Milk. I have been using this for my under eyes and my face. It is so good. It doesn't look like powder. It has a soft focus effect to it, and it has hydrating properties as it controls shine and blurs pores, which I love. And it's water resistant or waterproof and humidity and sweat resistant. It's a really great shine controlling powder that doesn't make my skin anywhere on my face look or feel dry and tight or look like I'm wearing powder. And I also really love the dispensing mechanism. So there are two tabs right here. I'm not sure if you can see those. And when you rotate or twist them, it opens and closes the sifter, which is really nice. So I just dispensed some into the lid, and I'm swirling my BK Beauty N14 brush into the powder, and I'm pressing out any creases that may have happened while I was looking in different directions, and I'm just lightly pressing that in. Kind of swirl the brush as I do this. So now I'm taking the corner of a puff and tapping it in there and just getting a small amount on there. It actually looks like a lot, but it's not. And I'm pressing it into my most crease-prone areas first, my crow's feet, right under my lash line, really pressing that powder into my under eye area and fusing it with my skin. So it looks like skin. We have the under eye eyes completed, and that looks really good, I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. This will be a slight spoiler for my next foundation roundup, but I've been testing the new Bare Minerals Original Pressed Powder Foundation. I have it in medium beige 12, which is for light neutral skin with a peach hue. This has really surprised me because the last time I tried the original powder foundation or mineral powder foundation from Bare Minerals, it didn't really work for me. It made me shiny pretty quickly. And if you saw my foundation review of the, I think it was the matte powder foundation that wasn't too long ago, it did not go well. So I wasn't expecting to think much of this. I'm not going to give you a full review here, but basically I've been pleasantly surprised. So this is inspired by their original loose mineral talc-free foundation, and it's just in pressed form. And I think you can see there is some embossing here. Now I'll tell you more about the claims of this as I'm applying it. So I've been using the Precision Face Brush from Bare Minerals to swirl and buff this on my face. Do you remember the days of swirling and buffing with the original mineral foundation, the loose version? That's how you can apply this as well. It is already starting to even out my skin tone while keeping the luminosity. So they say this gives sheer to full coverage, which I don't fully agree with. I really can't build this beyond, I would say medium to almost medium full coverage, but I mean, do you see how that took away that redness that has been under my nose? And it doesn't look heavy or cakey. That's what is so impressive. So I'll just do this side of my face and then we'll compare the two sides as I do with foundation reviews. So I don't like to apply powder foundation under my eyes. I just kind of blend it up into that area because sometimes it changes the color of my concealer, and I don't like that. So I just set my under eyes as I normally do and sort of blend the two areas together, and it works for me. So in addition to the sheer to full coverage claims, it's supposed to give you a naturally luminous finish while instantly hydrating, reducing redness, and improving your skin's barrier function. It's supposed to feel breathable and weightless and be great for all skin types, including sensitive and acne prone. It's not supposed to clog your pores or irritate your skin. And it's supposed to be crease, cake, sweat, humidity, and waterproof. Now, on the days that I have worn this, it has held up beautifully. I have that red spot here. It's muted. I mean, this side of my face just looks really nice and natural. There's nothing heavy. It just kind of disappears into my pores. I mean, if you look at this side compared to this side, it's done something. So if you're not familiar with the original Bare Minerals powder, it doesn't feel like a powder foundation once it's applied. It really messes with your skin and almost acts like a liquid foundation, which is why so many people with mature skin really like it. But you can apply liquid products over this if you want to. It doesn't take much product to get coverage from it. I was in the middle of a sentence and the doorbell rang, which sent Toby into a barking frenzy, and I'm back. I cannot remember where I left off exactly. I think I had finished blending it out with a brush, but just so you can see what it looks like. If you're not someone who typically sets your face with powder, you may not need to set this, but they do make mineral veil setting powder to set this type of product. So I am someone that needs to set my face with powder. I am going to use the Fenty powder I used a while ago. I'm just taking my BK Beauty 107 and dipping it in and lightly tapping it to my face so that I have powder everywhere. But it's just a nice light application, and then I'm going to press it in with a powder puff so it's fully fused. And so it looks like my skin and not like powder, but it still does a good job of doing what it's supposed to do. It's really just meshed in there, you know? But I mean, do you see this Fenty powder? It's just so pretty. I actually think I may have applied too much of that Bare Minerals on my nose. I think I'm seeing it cake up. That will not happen to you if you don't apply too much like I did. I mean, as with any foundation, if you apply too much, it's gonna look a little bit cakey. I think I'm seeing some of that, but you'll see a better representation of it in my upcoming foundation roundup. I still have a few foundations to finish testing before it's ready, but hopefully it will be coming somewhat soon. Do you see how that Fenty powder still gives my skin a glow, but it doesn't look powdery? I love it. I forgot I need to set my eyes too because I'm using a new powder eyeshadow palette. This is the Nikki LaRose N20 from BK Beauty. It does this all over my lids and up into my brows because I'm using a new brow pen that I've really been liking, but it performs much better if my brows feel set. I don't have a new bronzer, so I just pulled out my Milani Silky Matte Bronzer in Suntan, and I'm using the Nikki LaRose N18 from the new brush set. So quick and easy using this brush, and it diffuses it so nicely. I normally use a fluffier brush for bronzer. This is, I think, usually used for contour, but it's working, so I'm just gonna stick with it. I've been playing around with these brushes and they are really nice. I mean, I knew they would be. So I'm just giving my face a little bit of color, a little bit of dimension, sort of where the sun might naturally hit. It'll all come together in the end. So, okay, I'm gonna leave that there for now. Because I have to get so close to my brightly lit magnified mirror to do my brows, I'm gonna start out showing you why I like this new Anastasia Beverly Hills Micro Stroke Brow Pen. I have it in the shade Taupe, but I may have to finish it off camera because I can't have this light on full blast, and me turning like this and getting super close is not gonna be much help to you. So I'm just gonna start out showing you how fine this tip is. There's also a spoolie on the other end, which I love. It's a nice soft spoolie too. My brow hairs are pretty sparse and they're uneven from one another, as you can see here. I mean, this one dips down further in the front to have less brow hairs here, and this one extends further over on the tail than this one. I need a brow pen that will mimic brow hairs as closely as possible, which many of them do, but they force me to use a super light hand. I have to concentrate really hard to not go too heavy-handed, and I don't have to do that with this one. My brows will never be even. They will never be perfect. They are definitely distant cousins and nowhere near twins, but I do the best I can. I like how fine this pen is. I've been really impressed with it. It does the job when I have time to use a brow pen. So this is what we have going on. Not even, but you know, about as even as I can get it with the time I have to do it today. Okay, it's time to play around with the new Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes Nature Palette. This is limited edition. I hate that he makes these limited edition because they're really, really good. I have both of the other versions. I use the original version more than the other one just because I tend to wear neutral, warm tones more. I couldn't wait to get my hands on this. So in my recent Amazon video, I had on this really pretty shimmery golden olive. I paired it with this matte neutral brown and I lined, and I think I added some depth with this matte mahogany brown. I want to do something different today. I think I'm going to do different looks on each eye. So this palette has glossy shimmers that give a reflective kind of wet look to your eyelids. It also has suede satins and suede mattes and natural metallics. Now they say natural metallics plural, but the only metallic in this palette is this burgundy shade here, and the only satin in this palette is this satin cream shade here. It's a matte shade with these tiny little glimmer flecks in it. But as with his past palettes, all of the mattes are absolutely beautiful, creamy, blendable, and all the formulas are very easy to work with. That has been my experience with this palette. So he has a few inspiration looks on his website, and since I've been wanting to try shade 3, this shimmering taupe here, and shade 6, this shimmering rose gold, I'm going to pull from those looks and do something kind of quick and easy for every day, one on each eye. So I'm going to start with the look that's centered around this shimmering taupe. I'll start with shade 5, this matte dusty rose. This is BK Beauty N24, and I'm starting with my lower lash line because I like to just extend that angle up towards my brow so I don't go below that line, which can drag your eye down. A nice hazy lower lash line. It makes my eyes look a little bit bigger, and I always like doing that. We can always blend this out later, but it gives me a nice border. Now, because these shimmering shades are sort of sheer, the first thing I did the other day was even out the unevenness and discoloration on my lids with this shade number 1. I just took a small flat brush. This is BK Beauty N23. I just dipped it in there, tapped off the excess, and just swiped it on my lid like so. There are some tiny shimmer flecks in here. You can use any shade you want to, really, but just kind of evens things out. You can even take your finger and tap it on your lid. I have on a clear eyeshadow primer. If I had one on that had some corrective properties to it, or a concealer as eyeshadow primer, I would need to do this, but I didn't do that today. I'm dipping a Rephr 15 brush in that shade number 5, and I'm swirling it in the outer third of my eye up towards my brow. Remember, we have that border so we don't go below it. And I'm also swirling it in the crease of my eye and above, almost up to my brow. Nothing complicated, just using light swiping and swirling motions to give that area some depth. I'm dipping an angled brush. This is Sigma E65, a special edition, but it's the same as the regular, into shade 12, which they describe as a matte mahogany brown. I mean, this is pretty close to a regular chocolate brown. It's pretty neutral. And for me, it's all about borders, so I don't accidentally drag my eyes down. So I'm just creating a little mark here so I don't go below it. And then I'm pressing that into my lash line to basically tight line with this shadow. And now to finish out the liner and give my eye sort of a lift without doing a traditional wing, I'm just filling in or kind of building up the outer fourth or outer third of my eye from where I made that little tick mark, that border line, and sort of connecting it to my lash line where I tight lined. I'm just building that up a little bit, which gives my eye a bit of a lift without doing an entire wing. It's really easy. It's more of an everyday look. It's something I do a lot. To smudge this out and make it even more casual looking, I'm taking a small pencil brush. This is BK Beauty N21, and I'm dipping it in both shade 12 and 5, taking it back and forth in both of them, tapping off the excess, and I'm swirling it into what we just did and a little bit above it just to kind of smoke it and smudge it out. And I'm smudging it to the inner corner too. I like the kind of graduated smoky effect this gives, and it gives a lift without having to be precise. I want to see how this shade 3 applies with that N23 brush that we already used. I'm going to tap off any excess. I may want to use my finger to press it in a little more solidly. Yeah, I'm going to use my finger, which I usually do for shimmers. I almost always press them in with my finger. Sometimes I switch hands to bring the color over to the outer corner. It's less messy that way. Do any of you do that? I just find it helps me get it in that outer curve of my eye without getting everywhere. I don't know if you caught that, but I did get some fallout that dusted away very, very easily. That's another thing I really, really love about these shadows is that you can get a little messy with them, but you're not stuck with it all over your cheeks. That is eye 1 without mascara. Super easy, and it looks really put together and pretty in my opinion. I'm using my Sigma switch to clean the pigment off my brushes. I love this thing for when I need to use the same brushes for different shades. So I'm using that same N24 shade in shade 8, this matte camel brown shade, to do the same thing to my lower lash line up to my brow bone. And again, I'm taking the Rephr 15 in the same shade to apply it to my outer third, up into the crease and above almost to my brow bone, because I'm lining the exact same way I did this eye using the same brushes and this matte mahogany brown shade here, but with the matte camel shade. I'm going to speed right through it so we can get to this really pretty shimmering rose gold. These are both very neutral, soft, pretty looks. I would say rose gold is a little brighter of a neutral, whereas taupe is more mid-toned. I want to try both of these wet. I've dampened my, what is this brush? N23 brush. I'm taking it in the taupe shade first. These are wet to dry shadows, so I just want to see if it gives it a little bit more punch. It does in the regular palette, so it definitely amps up the shimmer, I would say. I'm also going to put just a bit of this shimmering peachy champagne on the inner corner, maybe the inner third or fourth corner of my lid, wet. I want to see if you can see it. I feel like you can, at least you can in my mirror. I don't know if you can in my monitor. It just gives a little bit of brightness. I've already talked about this Essence Lash Without Limits waterproof mascara. I love it. I think it's so great, so I'm just using it. I don't have a new mascara that I haven't talked about already, so we're just going with this. I may layer my Persona mascara over this. I don't really need to layer layer that over something, but it's just a really good volumizing, lengthening mascara. And I don't really need a lot of waterproof layering today. So yeah, I might do that. Although the tubing version of this is really nice too, but this is a really, really great drugstore mascara if you're looking for one. My mascara is finished and both neutral, easy eye looks are done. I'll also remind you of what my olive toned eye look looked like from the other day. I think that's probably my favorite just because it's the punch of color that's in this palette aside from the burgundy, which is not a shade that does me well. The quality of this palette is really nice. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. It just depends on if this is a color story that you need or want in your makeup arsenal. So the blush I'm applying does not match my eyes, but they don't match one another. So I guess at this point it really doesn't matter. We're just putting new makeup on this face today. So this is the Glossier Cloud Paint Plush Blush. I got it in Billow, which is lavender. I wanted something a bit different and this fit the bill. So this is supposed to have this memory cloud, yeah, that's what it's called, memory cloud texture that's pillowy, soft to the touch, and it's supposed to transform into this weightless, blendable powder that has buildable color. I always appreciate that because I don't like to have clown cheeks right away. I don't like to go in too hard with my blush. I like to have buildable color and be able to have sheer color and then build it if I want to. There are nice ingredients in here. We have ceramides and glycerides to lock in moisture. Even though you have a soft matte look with these blushes, there's also clover flower extract, which is antioxidant rich, and it gives you this soft focus blurred effect. I have to address this packaging first off. I think it's really cute. I like the shape of it and the color block kind of situation you have, but when you feel it, when you hold this in your hand, it feels cheap. It feels kind of like toy makeup. Then when you open it, it's got this hollowed out top. There's no mirror. They really cheaped out here on the packaging. I mean, can you hear that? I'm holding it close to my mic here. The hinge even sounds cheap, so I'm not impressed with the packaging at all. And I'm not really sure I'm getting this whole memory cloud soft pillowy feel that they say it has. To me, this just feels like a soft powder blush. I've felt this texture before. I'm swiping my finger in here many, many times, and I mean, it's a pretty sheer formula. They say you can apply it with your finger. Like, I don't feel a plushness here. You press the formula gently into your skin to apply it where flush is desired. So let's do that. And it says to use your finger to blend it out across your cheeks. I mean, technically, can you do this with any powder blush formula? And we're just not doing it. Now, granted, I do have a lighter shade. So when I applied this before, I just applied it with a brush as I would any powder blush, and I was good with that. So I don't know if I'm really getting the whole let's apply this with our fingers situation. I'm switching to a rougher 04 brush. It's kind of a denser, smaller brush that's still very soft, similar to what I used the other day. Maybe I even used a rougher 04 brush the other day, I'm not sure. But I definitely do see the blurring, soft matte, soft focus effect, even though this is a lighter color. So I do like the formula. I would like to try a deeper color in this blush. I mean, it's really pretty. The reason why I got lavender is because I tried another blush formula. It was a liquid blush. I think it was from NARS, and I remember being so surprised at how much I liked lavender on me. I was really, really, really surprised. I'm not getting a lot of kick up, which is nice, and I think the formula is really pretty. It's flattering and smoothing. It lasted nicely on me the day I tried it too. I would definitely try more shades of this. I just think that whole memory plush cushy cloud, whatever they call it, texture is a little bit gimmicky. I'm gonna apply this like I do my other powder blushes. So there are some things I dislike about this, but when it comes down to the formula itself, I think it's really nice. And the price, it's $26. So it's also a pretty nice price for a high-end blush. I have two new finishing powders here and some lip products to talk about, but I have to talk about this setting spray first. I have some other setting sprays I've been testing out, but this is the standout that I have to share in this video. I'm not quite ready to talk about the other ones yet. This is Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Liquid Blurring Balm mattifying setting spray. Now, I have not used this like a powder the way they say you can. I have just used this once I finish my makeup the way I would any setting powder. It doesn't leave my skin feeling dry and tight. There are hydrating ingredients in here, and it's powdered by Upsolite, as are most of, maybe all of Danessa Myricks products. So Upsolite is what she puts in her products to absorb oil and blur and mattify your skin, and it also smooths pores and texture. So you want to shake this up first. It sounds like a paint can. It has a nice fine cloud-like mist. It's a beautiful spray, and it says to spray 10 to 12 inches from your face in a T and an O motion and let it set for 2 to 3 minutes for a long-lasting semi-matte finish. I have no idea if my hand was covering the lens when I just sprayed. I'm kind of all over the place. I don't use exact T and O motions. I just make sure I cover my entire face without drenching it, which is hard to do with a cloud-like mist like this, but this is alcohol-free too. I always try to find good alcohol-free, non-drying setting sprays that hold up in heat, humidity, and sweaty situations. There are very few of them out there. I mean, my holy grail that is perfect for those situations is the one size, the one in the aerosol can, and it has alcohol. So I reserve it for extreme situations, and I love having this now. I've used this several times, and it keeps my makeup intact, and it keeps my shine under control beautifully, and my face feels good the entire time too. I am loving this. Now that my face is fully dry, I have 2 new finishing powders to share with you. One I like more than the other for my skin type anyway, and one appears to be half the price of the other, but it has half the amount of product. So first we have LYS True Enlightenment Soft Focus Skin Finisher Powder, and next we have One Size Boucle Silk Cellulose Airbrushed Powder. So I think you can tell which one has half the amount of product. That is LYS. I have it in shade Motivate, which is for light skin tones. You can see it has kind of a swirled effect to it. I'm not sure if you're even going to be able to see the swatches. I hope you can, because there is more of a sheen to this one. There you go. You can kind of see that catching the light. The description of this is a bit confusing because they say you can use this as a setting, bronzing, and highlighting powder all in one, yet when they tell you how to use it, they say to use it as a finishing powder. I would definitely say this is a finishing powder to be used as the last step of your makeup to kind of bring everything together, give a soft focus airbrush finish to your makeup. This has antioxidant ingredients, smoothing and hydrating ingredients in it, and this has a very reflective, luminous finish. This finish is a bit too shiny for me personally, but if you have dry skin or if your skin is really dull and you want more luminosity, more reflectiveness going on, you may like this type of finish, but I like a more soft focus candlelit glow, which is why I lean more towards the One Size. I just find this to be more flattering and very similar in finish to my holy grail MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural, which I know is going to change in formula when they remove the talc. I have this in light, which is for light neutral skin tones, and they say this gives sheer dimensional coverage instead of the medium coverage that the LYS gives. I feel like you can't really see this either because it's more sheer and it has less luminosity than LYS. So this gives that kind of candle glow effect to your makeup at the end of your makeup routine, that kind of soft focus filter effect. It can also help soften harsh lines if you apply too much contour or bronzer or blush. And if your foundation or powder isn't looking as good as you want it to, it can even help fix that and help bring everything together and look more seamless and minimize the look of pores. So do you see how that sort of diffused everything and softened this side of my face? You know what? Let me use this powder just so you can see what it looks like. I mean, you may prefer this finish. I just find it to be a little bit more luminous than I personally prefer. You see how there's just more shine to it, which may be fine for many people, but I find as the day goes on, that shine just is not as flattering on my pores and my fine lines and texture. So again, personal preference, but this side is the LYS and this side is one size. I personally prefer one size. I just think it's more flattering on my skin. It's not more expensive. You get double the product basically. This is 0.14 ounce and this is 0.3 ounces. And for reference, MAC Mineralized Skin Finish, which I love so much, is 0.35 ounces. I'm really happy about this release. I've been nervous about MAC Mineralized Skin Finish being reformulated at some point soon because of what a disaster the powder foundation was after its reformulation. So I'm happy to have a talc-free option that I actually really like. I mean, I've been reaching for this even though Mineralized Skin Finish Natural is still in my life. I have 3 of the new Pixie Lip Blush lip stains. So these are water-based and they have a marker tip, so they're supposed to glide on easily. They have humectants to bind moisture to your lips, panthenol to condition and smooth, and vitamin E to nourish and protect your lips. And you're supposed to apply them to clean, bare lips, which is why my lips have looked so dry in this video, which has been driving me nuts. You're supposed to outline your lips first and then fill them in. So I have Purity, which is a natural nude, Beauty, which is a peachy pink, and Youth, which is a sheer fresh pink. Well, let's try that again. Youth, which is a sheer fresh pink. You cannot see that. Okay, I've swiped Youth on 3 times now. So let's use one of the other 2. Let's try Beauty, which is the peachy pink. I feel like I cannot find a natural looking lip stain that's the color of my lips. They're always too orangey or turn way too pink. I'll start with this one and we'll see what happens. I may switch. Okay, I don't really want a shade this bright. I deliberately didn't use one of the darker, brighter shades because I didn't want something going that bright. I'm trying to find a neutral. Okay, let's try Purity. I don't like that either, which doesn't mean you won't like it. This is just not the particular stain I am wanting. I'm wanting something close to my lip shade. Maybe that's what Youth will give me. Let's try Youth. All right, Youth, let's see what you got. This is closer, although it's still a little bit pink. I think part of my issue is that the outer pigmentation of my lips is darker than the inside. And when you use a stain, you can't get the same fullness that you get with a lip liner. Like I still see all my lip lines. I can't slightly overline, you know, it's just kind of there. They just look like my lips, but slightly tinged. I've had it on about a minute and my lips feel like my lips. They don't feel hydrated or anything like that. It just feels like a lip stain. You know what? Since Neen launched new lip liners, let's go ahead and use this to slightly overline. I may even fill in with it. I don't know. I mean, this just feels like my lips right now. So let's overline with this slightly. This is the shade Spring, which is described as a cool neutral rose. These are supposed to glide on effortlessly and create a transfer resistant barrier so your lip color stays put. And the colors they created aren't supposed to pull to gray, orange, or to brown. They're just supposed to be nice and smooth and neutral. I've worn this one time on its own without a stain underneath it. It does have a nice smooth glide and it does last a nice long time. And it doesn't make my lips feel dry even though it's a long lasting lip liner. So I approve of this new launch from Neen, one of my favorite underrated indie brands. I'm topping this with Milani Fruit Fetish Lip Oil in Pumpkin Spice. There's a cute little pumpkin on here. I mean, why not? It's fall. This smells so good. There are a few limited edition fall flavors, fall scents. I almost pulled out Candy Apple, but I felt like it wasn't quite neutral enough for what we have going on here. That tastes so good. This is one of my favorite drugstore lip oil formulas. It has been for a long time. The flavors are so good. Even though the formula of the product isn't new, these limited edition scents and flavors are, so you may want to check those out. I mean, this has some nice sheer pigmentation. There's no stickiness. They just feel smooth and comfortable. And because they taste so good, they're a pleasure to reapply. So this is what we have. I think everything came together nicely. Do you? Let me know in the comments. I'd say most of these are pretty good new makeup launches. Let me know if you've tried any of these, if you plan to, what your thoughts are in the comments. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already. ready. I will see you in my next video. Bye!